Imagine a young mother, just 21 years old and expecting her third child, tragically losing her life in a routine police encounter over something as seemingly minor as shoplifting a few bottles of alcohol. This heartbreaking incident in Ohio has sparked outrage and legal battles, raising critical questions about police training, accountability, and the use of force. But here's where it gets controversial. Was the officer's response justified, or did systemic failures lead to an unnecessary tragedy? Let's dive into the details and explore what really happened, step by step, so even those new to these stories can follow along easily. In the Columbus suburbs, on a fateful day in August 2023, Takia Young, a pregnant black woman, was approached by police officers in the parking lot of a Kroger grocery store. She had been suspected of shoplifting alcohol, a relatively low-level offense that typically doesn't escalate to deadly force. According to bodycam footage from the scene, Young partially lowered her car window when officers, including Officer Connor Grubb, instructed her to exit the vehicle. In a chilling moment captured on video, she can be heard asking the officers, "Are you going to shoot me?" Moments later, as she shifted her car slightly to the right, it rolled toward Grubb, prompting him to fire through the windshield. Tragically, both Young and her unborn daughter, whom she was carrying at least 25 weeks into her pregnancy, were pronounced dead at the hospital. This incident, now 2 years in the past, has led to a federal lawsuit alleging that Grubb recklessly escalated the situation without proper verification or investigation, treating Young as a dangerous criminal despite the minor nature of the allegations. The lawsuit, filed this past Wednesday against Blendon Township and its police chief, claims that Grubb lacked adequate training and supervision, which contributed to the fatal outcome. For beginners wondering what this means, municipal liability is a legal concept where a government entity, like a township, can be held responsible for the actions of its employees if those actions stem from inadequate policies or oversight. The complaint seeks damages for Young's estate and an injunction to reform policies that allegedly violated her and her unborn child's constitutional rights. And this is the part most people miss. The lawsuit highlights that Grubb had a history of aggressive interactions with community members, yet faced no significant disciplinary action, potentially allowing patterns of behavior to go unchecked. Adding another layer to the story, Grubb was charged last year with murder, involuntary manslaughter, and assault in connection with the shooting. He's pleaded not guilty, and a hearing in his criminal case is set for next week. This dual track of civil and criminal proceedings underscores the complexity of holding law enforcement accountable. While the criminal charges focus on Grubb's individual actions, the lawsuit targets the broader system that employed him. But here's where opinions diverge sharply. Grubb's lawyer, Mark Collins, has argued that the shooting was justified, stating after last year's arraignment that Grubb fired because he perceived an imminent threat of serious injury or death from the moving vehicle. Is this a valid defense in a situation involving a pregnant woman suspected of a non-violent crime? Or does it highlight a troubling over-reliance on lethal force? The lawsuit paints a different picture, alleging that Grubb had multiple complaints against him dating back to June 2023, including incidents of physical intimidation, improper arrests, missed court appearances, policy breaches, and harassment. These allegations suggest a pattern that could have been addressed earlier, potentially preventing this tragedy. Young's estate has also filed a separate lawsuit last month in Franklin County against Grubb, the Kroger company, and one of its employees, claiming wrongful death and negligence. This adds the supermarket's role into the mix, questioning whether store policies or employee actions contributed to the escalation. Efforts to reach out for comments, including phone messages to Grubb's civil and criminal lawyers, Police Chief John C. Belford, a Blendon Township attorney, and a Kroger spokesperson, have been made, but responses are pending as of now. This case touches on broader debates in policing, such as how officers are trained to handle low-risk situations, and whether bodycam footage always tells the full story. For instance, consider similar incidents where vehicles have been involved in police encounters. Some argue that de-escalation training could prevent such outcomes, while others contend that split-second decisions in perceived threats are inevitable. What do you think? Should police be held to higher standards in minor allegations, especially when lives are at stake? Do you agree that Grubb's history of complaints points to a need for better oversight? Or is the focus on the immediate threat from the car more compelling? Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you side with the lawsuit's claims of recklessness, or do you see justification in the officer's actions? Your perspectives could spark important discussions on reforming police practices nationwide.